Hello and welcome back to Old World Soap Shop. I know it's been a while and I'm so happy to be back. Today I'm making some soap and it is a salty bar of soap. So this is a pink Himalayan bar of soap, and so I'm going to get right into it with you. I made some coffee, baby's sleeping. My other 3 kids are done with everything they need to be done with, and they know that they're gonna get baby if I'm still in the soap making process so that I can carry on making it. Thank goodness for them that my 2 oldest are 11 and they are able to help me out big time. I love making soap. It is so fun for me. If I could do this for a full-time job, I sure would. But I just can't right now. It's just not that time in my life where I can make that happen as I'm homeschooling my children, and I have a surprise baby that is such a blessing, has been such a blessing. I also have a little eBay side business, so I stay very busy. And the eBay thing I ended up doing because I couldn't really continue with the soap as much as I'd like because of the, I had to kind of kick the kids out of the room and everything. But I'm so happy to be back today, and I am filming this video. I'm going to let you know the recipe that I have. Made an espresso, have my candles lit. This is so good. It's so good. Okay, I really needed it for this afternoon pick-me-up. It is actually the afternoon. Okay, so let's get started. So today I am making salt bars of soap, and I am making 37 ounces of soap. I am not using my regular loaf molds because I don't know if you know, but soap does get very hard and crumbly, and so you really have to watch it like a hawk so that it's not going to like break your strings on your soap cutter, or even if you're slicing it with a knife, it can really crumble apart sometimes. And so you just want to use some molds that look kind of like this. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to use these flower molds and then some heart-shaped molds, and then I don't have to worry about cutting. I just unmold when they're ready, which is about 18 to 20 hours after poured, if not sooner. So in this recipe today, I am going to use what I have, and what I have today, I have more than this, but this fell within what I want to make, and so I was very happy I had all of these ingredients. And I have coconut oil, I have castor oil, cocoa butter, and shea butter. So I'll be using that for my soap. And my additives that I will be adding in there is, of course, the pink Himalayan salt. And I'm going to be using that at 40% of my recipe is going to be made up of salt. So I will be using about 14.8 ounces to probably round it up to 15. You can use about 40 to 55% of salt. Some people go higher than that even. So then another additive will be my kale and clay, which I always love to use. I think it makes the bar softer, just more creamy. Not softer per se, but I guess more creamy is the word I'm looking for. And then the essential oils I will be adding in are some of my favorite. I really wanted to go for a grapefruit, but I don't have grapefruit left. So I had to try to think of something that I could make kind of citrusy scented, which would be lemongrass, orange, and I'm going to use patchouli in there for a base. And it's funny because people who do not like patchouli, I've known people who will smell my soap and say, oh, this smells so good, what's in it? And then I'll tell them patchouli is one of the scents, and they're just kind of like shocked because they don't like patchouli, but they love the scent of that. So if you're using the right scent, it comes across really beautifully. Now straight up patchouli, I could understand why they might not like that. It can give me a headache sometimes, but a little bit of patchouli mixed with some other notes is wonderful. So that's what I'll be using. I'm going to be using 4.63 ounces in my 37 ounces of soap. So I'll be using 2 ounces of lemongrass, 2 ounces of orange, and 0.63 ounces of patchouli. Now for colorant, I will not be using micas today. I will be going all natural, using some beetroot powder to make it pinkish, and maybe some turmeric. If the beetroot looks a little too red or hot pink, I might brighten it up with turmeric. I think I just need to use probably less beetroot powder if I don't want it to look too hot pink, because in the oils it will become a light pink. So, but to brighten it, yeah, I might use maybe like a teaspoon of turmeric and 1.5 teaspoons of beetroot powder. And I will be stirring that in at medium trace, because I do not want my beetroot powder to turn brown. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Sometimes beetroot powder can be very finicky and it can turn brown. So if I had it mixed in with the oils in the beginning and then I poured the lye straight into it without any kind of trace happening first, without it kind of mellowing the lye out first, it might be too harsh and end up turning my beetroot powder that ended up being a liquid in with the oils a brown. So I'm going to first pour the lye solution in and then mix it until you can kind of see, you know, like they call the thin trace is where you can kind of see, you can write your initial on it or something, and it sticks a little bit, and then a little bit more with medium trace. And anyways, at medium trace, that's what I'm looking for to be able to add in my beetroot powder that I've mixed with a little bit of oils previously, and the turmeric. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. So the Himalayan salt, these are really good, like gentle scrub bars, and I really love, like coffee scrub is one of my favorites, and so I really love a bar that's a good scrub, and so I'm looking forward to this, especially with spring, and we're getting 80-degree weather. It's going back down to into the 30s, but we've had a couple 80-degree days here, and it reminded me of summer and made me want to make some beachy style soap. So that's what I'm doing today. And another thing, the kaolin clay can draw out dirt, and that's why I like to use that. It's good for people who are like prone to clogging. Clays, even when you ingest it, like it will draw out stuff, some bad stuff, so they say. So with clay masks and everything, we know that you can feel that pulling sensation. It draws out dirt and kind of helps to unclog, I guess, and it helps with oily skin. So I like to use that. And these essential oils I've chosen, they're mood lifting essential oils. I just really love it for the scent. I love to keep them in my sock drawers until I'm ready to use it, and then my socks smell wonderful. Salt will draw in moisture. I don't know if you've had like a pink Himalayan rock lamp. You can feel sometimes it feels sweaty, and that is because it's the salt pulling the moisture to it. So it's totally normal. It's actually a good sign. It means your soap's alive and doing well. And so you can just wipe it off. It's fine. It's natural for soap to sweat, they say, but it's actually not going from the inside out. It's actually pulling moisture onto it. So I don't really know how true the sweat part is, but that's what it's said a lot of the time. Soap is sweating. It's actually pulling moisture from the air onto it. It's just surface condensation. You just wipe it off and call it good. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to get started making. Let's go. Okay, so a couple things that I wanted to show you. First of all, I forgot to say that something really important that I'm doing is I am super fatting my soap by 20%. So I have a very large amount of coconut oil and a larger amount that I usually use for castor oil as well. Okay, so a couple things I wanted to show you real quick is, so my lye solution, it's cooling in the sink. It is right now clocking in at 116 degrees. My oils are 130. I want to wait a while until it gets down to about 85 or 80 degrees or so. Here is the bucket I'll be pouring everything into to mix. This is my essential oil combo of lemongrass, sweet orange, and patchouli. The sweet orange is at 10 times because if you just use regular sweet orange essential oil, it doesn't really stick around. Another thing I do is I add my kale and clay in here because it actually helps to anchor in the scent, and I've always done that. It seems like it helps, and so that's just what I do. Here's my pink Himalayan salt measured out, and here's my beetroot powder with the turmeric. Now the reason why I want to soap at a lower temperature with my oils and lye, and it's also because of my citrus essential oils and because of the salt. That's the reason why I want to soap at a lower temperature today, because the salt and the citrusy type essential oils will speed up trace. So if you want to have more time to work with it, especially if you're working with like two-tone colors, then that's what I would do. Soap at a lower temperature. Another thing I'd like to add is I am super fatting my soap by 20%. I am super fatting it at 20%. I have a very high percentage of coconut oil. It's at 76%, excuse me, and my castor oil is one of the highest I ever use in this recipe, which is at 12%. I typically do not go above 5%. Sometimes I go to 8%. But yes, the castor oil will help it become foamy because the salt will make it less creamy and bubbly and foamy. But by adding more castor oil in, it can help with that foam. And then also, when I'm super fatting it with all that coconut oil, it's going to bring the big bubbles back because it will kind of diminish the bubbles also. The salt will if you don't super fat. And it tends to become real crumbly, so you want to super fat. So what I'm going to do first when I'm ready, I'm going to be pouring my oils back in here. I measured everything in here. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. And I'm going to end up mixing in here because I needed to heat it up in here. Anyways, I'm going to pour my oils back in here, and then I am going to immediately pour, well, none of this in actually, because this will speed up trace, and this needs to have a medium trace in order for the salt not to fall all to the bottom. And this, the lye solution could cause the color to change. So first what I'm going to do today is, and usually I'll put all of that in the beginning if I'm working with a really good fragrance and without salt, but I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to add my oil in here, all my oils and butters. Then I'm going to add the lye solution in. I'm going to mix and mix and mix until I get my medium trace. Then once I get my medium trace, I am going to add in my colorants, my salt, my colorants, mix a couple times, my salt, mix a couple times, and lastly my fragrance oils, and mix until I'm done. And then I'm going to pour straight into my molds. So when you're working like that and you have some kind of method, make sure you have it like laid out in an order to where you know what's going in with what. I do need to add oil into this right now so I can make it into a creamy paste. I'll show you that next. So this is what it looks like so far, and what I've decided to do, I don't know why I wasn't thinking before, but I'm just going to add my colorant straight into my fragrance oils and kale and clay. Then I just have to remember salt and then the fragrances, clay, and the colorants, because it's not going to do anything. It's going to be just fine to add my colorants in with my fragrance oils, and then I can actually cut down on time also. So I'm going to show you some molds I have. These I use for shaving bars, and they fit perfect in like a dish with a brush, but this is also going to be really good for the salt bar. And then I have these heart-shaped molds. Then I've got these molds, and I would probably just end up using these ones at the end here. I don't know. This says like Life and Rose, stop and smell the rose. Oh, stop and smell the roses. So anyways, it looks like that needs to be cleaned out. But then I also have just these simple rectangles and then these pretty flowers. So I'm definitely going to use these ones. I use those ones all the time and they're always beautiful. And then I think I'll use all of these because they're small enough. And then I'll use, if I still have more left, I'll do like one in here, one in here, and one in here because I really want to see what all of those look like with the pink salt bar. Gloves on, and I'm going to get ready to mix. I have this set to minimum, and I'm not going to do turbo. I'm just going to do regular. Okay, so we're going to see what temperature we're at. I'm at 90 in the oils and 90 with the lye water solution, so that works out perfect. I'm going to move this off to the side, and I am going to pour the lye water in. Rinse that out. Okay, start mixing. So it looks like we've got a medium trace here. So I'm going to just stir everything in. I'm gonna go with the salt. I think I need a much bigger spatula. Looks good. Pretty and pink. Okay, and now I'm going to mix my colorants around again in the clay because it settles on the bottom. I'm going to pour that in and cross my fingers that it does not brown. And actually, I think I'm going to take my blender to it again because it is pretty liquidy from the fragrance and everything. So I'll put my blender back in for a minute. Okay. It smells so good. It really does smell like lemon and grapefruit. It's beautiful. Okay, and I'm going to start pouring, or maybe even spooning. We'll see. I can pour it for now. I should probably get a, so used to my large soap molds, I should get something with a spout. Right here, maybe. Okay. That is a big mess. Oh my gosh. That's okay. And then I will show you what it looks like after I unmold tomorrow. Okay, this is the messiest soap I've ever made for sure. The salt bars, but they work so great. It's okay. It's really fun. Gotta get your fingers in there and kind of smooth it out. So anyways, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 18 bars of soap here. So here's the size of my hand. These are smaller rectangles. And these are pretty big bars right here. Solid, thick discs. So yeah, and by tomorrow, I will end up unmolding these and show what they look like. Next day, I'm unmolding these at 8:40 a.m. and we have some beautiful bars here. They actually smell like lemon drops. So I might call them like lemon drops, I don't know, lemon drop salty bars. We'll see, but it does also have like that pink lemonade tart scent to it. So I am very pleased with these. Love a good salt bar. They unmold so nicely because they set up so well. So here's that disc. And then I'll just kind of shave these to make them look nice and presentable. That says for you. And then it's just the pink, I guess it made it a very, very light tinge to it, but it didn't really come through as much as I thought, but that's okay. It's a beautiful